All right. So good afternoon to everybody. Thank you so much for making time to make it today to our first virtual Sebring Chamber Luncheon. This is very new to everybody. And hey, when the going gets tough, you got to make some changes and make things work so we can all continue to move along. So that's what we are doing. As you're getting situated, I'd like to thank our year-round sponsors, and I'll kind of keep the same normal program and order that we do for things normally today. So we have our 2020 Chairman's Circle sponsors. We have Advent Health Sebring, L&J Automotive Network, Chen Dental, CLA, Dental Care of Mid-Florida, Haycock Insurance Group, Highlands News Sun, Highlands Regional Medical Center, Mid-Florida Credit Union, Sebring International Raceway, and Sun and Lake Golf Club. We also have our President's Club sponsors. We have Bullgator Plumbing, Center State Bank, Coca-Cola Florida, Duke Energy, First Southern Bank, Glades Electric Co-op, and Seminole Casino Brighton. So thank you to all of those sponsors. Maybe some people were able to get some delivery from or takeout from their favorite chamber member restaurants today to make their own little luncheon. So in the safety of your home. So enjoy your food while you're listening like we normally would at our luncheons. I was going to order something myself, but ended up getting sidetracked prepping for this. So I'll be doing that after the meeting. All right, we've got Ron DeGennaro, who is our, going to be doing our invocation for us in case you are eating.
Thank you, Liz. Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you for allowing us to meet in this virtual manner. We pray, oh God, for our community. We pray for the businesses, but more importantly, we pray for all of the people, all of the citizens of our community. We especially lift before you those who are struggling with this virus, those families that have already suffered loss, and we also lift before you, oh God, the doctors and the nurses on the front lines who are combating this virus with our citizens. We pray for their strength and their wisdom and for whatever viable treatments that will effectively help to cure our citizens. We pray, oh God, that you will direct them. Be with our community, oh Lord. We have rallied and come back from many different things over the years that we have experienced: hurricane, violence, and you have always been with us. We pray, oh God, that you will be with us through this, and we give you thanks, especially during this Passover and Holy Week. May your presence be mindful to us, we pray in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Oh, let me admit a couple people in here. Looks like Jamie made her way in. All right. Thank you. Okay. All right, everybody. So a couple of housekeeping items before we get started with everything. I've got everyone muted, as I mentioned, when they come in. That way we can just kind of get rid of any of the background noise or dogs barking or husbands rumbling in the refrigerator behind you, things like that. So just to let you guys know, but when it comes to member announcements later on in the program, I'll explain how we do that and how we make that happen, because it's real. I know that's the reason that a lot of people join our chamber luncheons, is because that's important to them. So I'll explain how we'll do that in a little bit. I'd like to thank our luncheon presenter today. We have Carl Haddon from the Florida SBDC. I see that he's here, so he'll be talking about these programs that are out there, and we'll have a chance for you guys to ask questions, so you actually will be able to connect with somebody, one-on-one when it comes to that, and I know that's important to everybody. As always, I like to recognize our dignitaries that are with us, so if I missed anybody, I am very sorry. But who we have here, we have past chairs. We have Ronnie Carter. From our current board of directors, we have Shannon Sapp, Brian Cosgrave, and Kendall McIntyre. From our city of Sebring, we have Councilman Kurt Ivey. From the Sheriff's Office, we have our Sheriff, Paul Blackman. And from the Highlands County Economic Development, we have Megan DiGiacomo and Jeff King. And from the state of Florida CFO's office, we have Marty Milkey. So thank you guys for joining us. New members, we have Lakeshore Manor of Sebring. That's that big, beautiful building right on Lake Jackson that's being built. So we have Tina Thompson, who is also here today. Tina, I'd like to ask you, when we do the member announcements a little while down, if you could go ahead and make sure that you make your announcements so everybody knows your face or name and goes with the name and the new business. So we're very excited to have you here. If there are any guests that are here, that anybody who's not a member of the chamber who wants to introduce themselves again during the announcement time, I'd ask you to do that. All right, let me make sure I've got Mr. Paul Blackman here with us. We're moving on to the, where'd he go? There he is. Let me go ahead and unmute him. So it's time for the Sheriff's Office update. Sheriff Blackman, would you like to take over for us?
Absolutely. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right. So we'll go ahead and get started. Let me. How about now? Can you still hear me?
Yes.
All right. I know these times are tough for a lot of local businesses right now, and I want to thank the Chamber for all that they have done to help, as well as any others who have gone out of their way to support their fellow local businesses during this past month and for the days to come. No matter if your business is considered essential or non-essential, the family here at the Sheriff's Office, we want to thank you for what you do for our community. We are praying for a very fast recovery once this virus issue has passed us. So we'd like to remind all the business owners, no matter if your business has remained open or is currently closed, if you feel there should be some sort of directed patrol at your business, please let us know and we can get that done for you. See, the last thing that we want is for once the situation clears up and everything kind of returns to normal, we don't want you to return to your business and find that it's been burglarized or something of that nature, and then you've got even more downtime. So again, just let us know. Just call the Sheriff's Office and we will make sure that we get your business some regular checkups from the deputies that are working in those particular zones. We're getting a lot of questions pertaining to curfews and how we are enforcing Governor DeSantis's emergency order. So kind of want to address some of those. Currently in Highlands County, we have not gone with a curfew. We're not seeing any types of after-hour gatherings or any calls for service at night spiking. So we've determined that a curfew is not yet needed in our county. When it comes to the businesses that are not adhering to Governor DeSantis' emergency order, we're not being proactive in searching for them. However, every day we do receive about 7 or 8 calls from people telling on each other, and those calls are more reactive in nature, and we assign those to someone, and we go out and we try to educate the business owner and certainly hope for voluntary compliance. And thus far, that seems to be working out just fine. So that's going to be our continued path at this time. We have also been asked a lot by the essential business owners, do our employees need to carry some sort of proof of employment or identification card saying that they work for an essential business? Our answer to that at this time is no, absolutely not. Our deputies are not proactively stopping people and checking their proof of employment or where they're going from or coming from. So at this time, that is not needed. I guess it should be of no surprise that our calls for service have been down, but although we don't want to say the Q word because for us first responders, that's a bad luck word. We don't want to say that. But at this point, everybody seems to be staying out of trouble and doing what they're supposed to. So that's great news. However, during this time, as it is during hurricanes, when people are cooped up inside of their houses, our domestic violence type calls seem to increase, and that would be true for this time. So we just want to send out a reminder and remind people to maintain control of your emotions, and please realize that everyone is under added stressors during this time. Here locally, we did have a couple of golf carts taken earlier in the week from Tanglewood. So I just want to remind everyone to be sure to Make sure your golf carts are secure. Just taking the key out of it sometimes is really not enough. There's many products out there like a pedal or a steering lock that you can get that work really well. You can also get a custom starter key, which makes it a lot harder for the thieves to get that cart. So if you get a chance to do that, please make sure those are secure. And please don't forget, Scott usually reminds everyone about the 9 o'clock routine or the 9 p.m. routine. Please don't forget to make sure everything is secured at night before you go to bed. In closing, none of us truly knows what tomorrow brings. Even though we have no idea what our future challenges are, I do know my community. The men and women of Highlands County are the most diligent, caring, thoughtful, and resourceful people God has ever placed on earth. And I know it does not matter the challenge, our community will be stronger and more resilient as a result of any adversity. So I encourage you all to stay strong, continue in your faith. Please look out for each other and call us if you or anyone you know needs help with anything. Thank you very much. And I'll take this time to try to answer any questions anybody might have. And we'll see if we can get through this technology part of it.
If we have any questions, individuals might be able to use the chat on the bottom as well, on the bottom of their screen, to be able to type something in if they're having any sound issues. And we definitely, if somebody asks some questions while you're already have logged off, we can always email them over to you. So I'll make sure and get you in connection with anybody who has any questions for you. Okay. Thank you very much for your time today. We really do appreciate you very much. All right, so we now have, let's see, we've got our Student of the Month presentation. So I'm going to unmute him in case he has anything he wants to mention while we're talking. No pressure though. So let me go ahead and do that. So we have JJ Sawyer, who is our Student of the Month for March. And I'm going to talk about him a little bit and brag on him just like we would in normal situations. So we have Jeremiah is 18 years old. He is the son of Tatiana and Zadiel Mendez. He's a senior at Sebring High School, and he has a 3.8 GPA and is involved in many honor classes. Throughout his 4 years of high school, he's been part of this SGA, Student Government Association, the AVID program, varsity show, choirs, Spanish Club, National Honor Society, and was granted the opportunity to present the morning announcements to the student body for the previous 2 years. He's participated in the Veteran Assistance Program at Sebring High School for 4 years. He currently interns at Sebring Animal Hospital as a vet assistant and participates in hospitality needs for them, which means you've probably seen my little Bella every once in a while. He is involved at his local church, Assembly Church, in the youth group, worship team, children's ministry, and Spanish translating. He is a part-time manager at his job at CNC Market Research in Lakeshore Mall and is a barista at Dunkin' Donuts. After Hurricane Irma, he had the privilege of volunteering in a community event led by the Convoy of Hope to help those affected by the tragedy. After high school, he plans on attending South Florida State College to get his Bachelor of Science in Nursing and become a nurse at Advent Health. So we're very excited to have him and recognize him today. JJ, you want to say hello?
I just want to say thank you.
Awesome. Well, I have, everybody's going to laugh at me because I made sure I had all of the things that we normally do for you in normal situations. So here is your amazing Student of the Month certificate. It is going in the mail to you. So I'm sure one day that right next to your bachelor's degree, it'll go right on your wall forever and ever because you were Student of the Month in the middle of this craziness. So I also have a couple of things for you. We have a letter to thank you for everything and a $50 check. And that is from the Tutoring Center. And courtesy of the Palms of Sebring, we will be sending you a $50 Amazon gift card. So I'll be emailing that to you later on today to thank you for doing such an awesome job and for being a great student in our community. So thank you to JJ.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. All right, a couple of announcements from us. We have an after hours mixer that's normally scheduled for a week from today, next Thursday. And you know what? We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna make this happen. We're gonna keep plugging along so people can be connected. So we're gonna have a virtual after hours mixer, and I'll email you guys about that later on today. We actually are gonna have a, that way you can bring your own glass of wine, your own snacks, sit on the couch and mix with people. We will have a door prize for what I'm calling the cutest coworker, and the cutest coworker is bring your own pet. So whoever's got the cutest pet, I am giving them the, that's gonna join them on the couch, I'm gonna give them a prize, door prize for that. So I'll send you more information about that. Our May networking luncheon would be scheduled for May 14th. We will have it. The question is, what format will we have it? So is it going to be at Sun and Lake, or is it going to be here in Zoom? Either way, that's okay. We'll make it happen. That way we can make sure we're at least connecting that way. The Sebring Soda Festival has been postponed until October. So our dates are October 16th through the 18th. If you haven't already re-registered your nonprofit or gotten a booth for that, you still can at SebringSodaFest.com. And I do want to mention too, our Sebring Chamber COVID-19 updates webpage. That has restaurant information with links for delivery. It has information on how to connect to a church if you're interested in that. Grocery store updates, so it has the times and senior hours, at-risk hours, and any type of small business updates that you might need as well, because those are pretty important to make sure you have the things that you need. So just make sure you check that out. It's sebring.org, and right on the main page, you'll see COVID updates. You just click on that, and that'll get you connected. If your business has anything that you need to pass on, all you need to do is just shoot me an email at ceo@sebring.org, and we will get you in there. If there's anything else that you can think of that's important, just send us a message, because that's important to us to make sure we're telling people about what's going on. All right, so we've got our program. Let me go ahead and get Carl unmuted here. So Carl Haddon from the Florida SBDC is going to be discussing some options to help your small business during the COVID disaster. While he's speaking, I highly suggest that you type any questions that you have in the chat section, which is located on the very bottom of your screen. So if you move your mouse cursor, you'll see it right there. And just go ahead and type those into the chat while he's talking. That way, at the end of the presentation, when he's speaking, he can go ahead and go and answer any of those questions that are there. And hopefully we'll have a few minutes for him to do that. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome today's speaker, Carl Haddon from the Florida SBDC.
Thank you, Liz, and thank you guys for your flexibility and keeping your Sebring Luncheon on track. I'm glad to see that the chamber's staying active. I don't know if Sheriff Blackman is still listening, but I noticed everybody's attending from their living room, and I was just really impressed with Sheriff Blackman's living room, that he was able to decorate it with the seal of the sheriff's office on the back. But he must really be enthused about working for the sheriff's office, so thank you for that. But for those who are not familiar with the Florida SBDC at USF, we are a nationwide network of business assistance centers. We help businesses in all stages of development, from pre-venture all the way up to mature multi-generational companies. We help them with business planning, marketing, government contracting, exporting, financial analysis, and all aspects of business that they may need assistance with. The consulting that we do provide is confidential and no cost to the business owner. But in times that we're in right now, in times of disaster, post-hurricane, dealing with COVID, the Florida SBDC network is part of the state's emergency response team. And our role in that process is to work with the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity to facilitate the state's emergency bridge loan program. We do not make the loans, nor do we make decisions on the loans, but we help facilitate that. We work with the applicant, we work with that small business through the application process, help them gather the appropriate supporting documents, and move that through the process so they can get some, hopefully get some financial relief through that program. Now, just a little bit about the Florida Emergency Bridge Loan Program. Many of you are probably aware of it because it was very active after Hurricane Irma. It's been around for decades. But what that program is designed to do is provide small businesses a short-term injection of capital to help them reopen or maintain their business during that period of crisis or disaster. The term of the loan is it's a 12-month zero-interest loan, and it's designed as a bridge to a longer-term solution, whether that be connecting with a federal disaster relief program, in the case of a hurricane, getting a settlement from the insurance company. Now, the Florida Small Business Bridge Loan Program was activated on March 16th by Governor DeSantis, so we're a little over 3 weeks into it. They appropriated $50 million to that fund. To tell you a little bit about what we've done in our region, we've already processed and approved 76 emergency bridge loans for approximately a little over $4 million. We have another 100 plus that are in the queue, either going to committee or getting ready to go to committee. We have a committee meeting this afternoon. I know personally I have 3 clients in that meeting, and there'll be 15 total cases will be presented this afternoon. The loan committee is an independent committee made up of bankers and economic development professionals from throughout our region. And it's the committee's role to actually render decisions on those loans. To give you an idea of the scope of the volume that we're working with right now, following Hurricane Irma, which was a very widespread disaster, our loan committee met twice a week for 1 hour each to make those decisions on loans. When we first activated for this COVID disaster, we were meeting 3 times a week, and then starting on Monday, actually might be tomorrow, our committee is going to start meeting twice a day, 5 days a week, in order to try to keep up with the volume of requests for assistance through that emergency bridge loan program. Just in our 10-county region, we've received over 5,000 for assistance through that program, and there's been over 35,000 throughout the entire state. So, we definitely see a huge need for that, and we're working feverishly, long days, trying to move them through the process as quickly as we can. Some folks have already applied either through mailing their application in. They may have emailed it in, and then a few weeks ago, they activated an online activation process. What I'll tell you is if you've applied through any of those 3 methods, you are in our workflow, so you don't need to apply a second time. Let me see. Talk a little about staffing. We have been really working hard to increase capacity. We've hired 4 people in the last 3.5 weeks. I have another 2 people that are supposed to start before the end of this month to again try to increase the amount of small businesses that we can help through this. Just some local staffing information. Many of you may know Michael Noel. He's been a consultant with the Florida SBDC for quite some time. He actually decided to launch his own business and decided to exit. And we actually made a hire for the Heartland region. During this transition, however, Michael is still working with us until we can get past COVID. So we have Michael Noel working for us full-time down there. And then many of you know Trey Stevenson. We brought him on board back in March, and he's going to be serving also that area. So we have 2 folks dedicated to helping the businesses down in your neck of the woods. We do have, I did put a link to our coronavirus page in the group chat. There's links to both the Emergency Bridge Loan Program, and there's multiple programs that have come through at the federal level. The one that's been around for quite some time is the economic injury disaster loan. Many call it EIDL. That loan is a low interest, long-term loan for businesses who have been impacted by the disaster. The interest rate for this particular loan is 3.75%. Terms can be up to 30 years depending on how the loan is structured. There's also a new component that was part of the CARES Act that was tagged onto the EIDL program is the $10,000 advance. So many of you may have heard about that grant, but if you apply for, or if you haven't applied for the EIDL, you go through and apply for the EIDL, and I believe there's a box that you check requesting that advance. The SBA will review the application, and then they'll make the determination on whether it's eligible or selected for that $10,000 advance. That application link is also on our website. Now, that particular loan comes directly from the SBA. You apply through the SBA website, and the SBA would be, I guess, the lender for that particular loan. The new one that also came out with the CARES Act is something called the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP. That one just activated last Friday for small businesses. And there's been a lot of attention to that because it's directed primarily at helping small businesses maintain their payroll in this time while they're closed. Now that window opened last Friday for businesses. Starting tomorrow, independent contractors, 1099 workers, self-employed folks can also apply. Let me see if there's any other notes I wanted to really go through. I just kind of wanted to give an overview of the programs and leave as much time for Q&A as I could. I will let you know that, we have been working long hours. We're doing the best that we can. We're working those clients on a first in, first out kind of a basis. So I will ask for your patience during this time as we really attempt to work through this rush of small businesses who are seeking assistance. And with that, Liz, I want to leave the balance of the time for Q&A if I could.
Okay, we'll go ahead, and our first question that we have is, how do you help independent contractors?
Independent contractors, with the programs that are out right now, they are eligible for the Paycheck Protection Program. Again, their window to apply doesn't open until tomorrow. And I'm not an expert on unemployment benefits, but I do know that there was some language in the CARES Act that expanded the criteria that would cover gig workers, 1099 workers, for unemployed benefits as well. But if it's I'd have to get a little bit more information about their status as a worker, if they have their own business or if they're paying themselves or if they're working for another business as a subcontractor.
I can see how that could get pretty complicated in certain ways. So maybe what I'll do is connect to you with this individual, and maybe you can help them in a more particular way, okay? The next question was, does the Florida Bridge Loan still exclude nonprofits?
Yes, the criteria for that loan is, and this is again set by the state of Florida and the DEO. It needs to be a for-profit business with a minimum of 2 employees and a maximum of 100 employees. So if it fits within that window, they would be eligible for the state bridge loan. Now the EIDL, the SBA EIDL loan, nonprofits are eligible to participate in that program. So if they do have a nonprofit and they do need some assistance, I would definitely recommend them to visit our website, and then there's a link there to the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan page, and that one would apply to a nonprofit.
Okay, so the next question is, are these programs that you're referring to specifically for Highlands County, and are there any other sources for other counties to be referred to?
The bridge loan, I'm trying to think the best way to answer that. All the programs I discussed apply throughout the state. The state bridge loan That one is activated in counties that the governor has declared as a disaster area. In the case of COVID, every county is a disaster area. Where that may vary in a future disaster, say if a hurricane hit a particular part of the state, just those counties that were impacted would be eligible for that program. But in the current disaster environment that we're in, every county in Florida is eligible for the state emergency bridge loan program. And the federal programs also are available to all businesses who qualify for those particular programs.
Okay, the next question is, when do you anticipate the PPP loans getting approved and distributed to businesses? Do you have any insight on that?
Well, the process for the PPP loans is a little bit different than the other two. Those loans are actually made directly through an SBA approved lender. And there may be a banker on the call that could jump in on that as well. But I spoke to a friend of mine who is a banker. I spoke to him day before yesterday, and he said that they were accepting applications, they were processing them, and they were approving them, but they were being held in a queue because there's a portal that the SBA, there were some delays in the SBA setting that up that the bank had to use to validate that business before they could actually fund the loan. So there were some delays based on some logistical challenges between the banks and the SBA, but we're not directly connected to that process. Is there a banker on the call that might have newer information than that?
I do actually. So when I'm done with your questions, I'll jump over to him. I just confirmed that he'd be able to answer some of the questions there.
But yes, if you are interested in the PPP program, there is a link to information on our website. There's an application that you can download. Our recommendation is if you already have a banking relationship, you reach out to that bank first, because most banks that I have spoken with are given priority to their account holders before they work with non-account holders. And if your bank is not participating, I believe the SBA website has a list of participating banks. And of course, if you reach out to the SBDC, we'll do our best to get you connected. But the best, I would start on the SBA website for that list. But locally, I can't tell you which banks are in and out at this point.
We've actually confirmed with each of the chamber member banks and credit unions, and everyone on our list on our chamber website. When you pull up the list of banks and credit unions, they are all, what they've told me is they are all approved to do PPP, so at least we know that. So there's about six or seven of them that are available locally. So I think that'll cover that part. We have one who mentioned here, we submitted our application on March 20th. When will we know if our application is being processed?
I assume they're talking about the emergency bridge loan. I don't have a time window of when they'll be contacted, but I will tell you that we're working off of a master spreadsheet, and as they're going in, they're coming out in that order. So they should be, again, from the time they applied, that's when they'll be seeing when that workflow moves forward into a consultant. But again, we have been working as quickly as we can to touch each one of them. But hopefully they'll hear from a consultant very soon. Now, I did want to talk a little bit more about the PPP. I didn't really go into the specifics of the program, but that one it will cover up to 8 weeks of your payroll is what it's designed to do. And you're allowed to apply for up to 2.5 times of your average monthly payroll. And for the portion of that loan that is used specifically for payroll, there's a forgivable element of that loan to where on the back end, you have to provide the documentation. And if you can show that you've used those funds for payroll, that portion of the loan is forgiven. There's also some caveats in there where you can use the money for rent and utilities and some other limited operating expenses. Those expenses are also forgivable, but not at 100%. Those are forgivable up to 25%, where the payroll portion of it is forgivable up to 100%. So it's a great deal. If you have employees, highly recommend that you apply for that program, but don't just apply for that one only, because again, it only covers 8 weeks. The economic injury disaster loan, the EIDL loan, the parameters around that one is the rule of thumb is you can borrow up to 6 months of your operating expenses. So you can borrow a larger amount of money to cover your business for a longer period of time. So you can apply for both the SBA auto loan and the PPP loan. The only thing to be aware of is if you are approved for both loans, you can't use those loans for the same period. And for example, part of your 6 months operating expenses is payroll. So if you get 8 weeks of payroll out of the PPP program, I was told there's a mechanism in place where the SBA will make an adjustment to the EIDL loan and reduce it by the amount that you're getting for the payroll in the PPP, because they're not going to pay you twice for the same 8-week payroll. Does that make sense?
I believe so, hopefully. And if not, like I said, we can get people connected for, additional questions to give you, to give some additional help. We've got another one here. How does the PPP apply or help a business that remains open but has employees that are staying home and not working because they have health issues or school-age children?
There's not language that I've seen in the PPP that specifies if that person actually has to be working, because many are not. Personally, the way I see the PPP program is it's an opportunity for small businesses to keep those employees connected to their business, so that when we do get to the other side of this, it's a much easier way to just reopen, because you still have all of your people. Whereas if this was not in place and everybody laid everybody off, and then hopefully 3, 4, 5 weeks down the road, we're able to reopen for business. Now all of a sudden you don't have any employees and you have to go try to find more employees. So it's really an opportunity to keep those employees tethered to your business. There's not a rule in there that says they actually have to be working. Now you do have to keep. You can't. There's a 75% rule. You can't reduce your wages or reduce your workforce by below the 75% level. So if some people decide that they just don't want to come back, or if they quit and they decide to use the unemployment benefits, there is a little bit of a cushion there for the small business if 100% of their employees are not still on the payroll at the end of the PPP period.
Okay, so that may partly answer this next question. For the PPP loan, for forgiveness requirements, do we have to keep 6 employees on payroll if we had 6 employees in 2019, or is that prorated forgiveness?
They do an average, so they look at the average number of employees either in 2019 or in the last 12-month period. If you are a seasonal business, there's some ways you can do it to the calculation to account for the seasonality of your business. And I don't want to get too far in the weeds on how that's done, but there's on the FAQ page, you'll find, what you would need to do and what periods of time you would do that average versus doing a rolling 12-month average. But they do look at the 12-month average of number of employees and the amount of payroll.
So the forgiveness basically is going to be the amount that they're ending up spending on payroll in the coming months, right?
The forgivable part, yes. Now, it doesn't cover the employer portion of the payroll taxes. So let's say the total payroll for an employee was $4,000, and the employee portion of the payroll tax was $500. The entire $4,000 would be reimbursable, but the $500 employer portion of the payroll tax is not something that they're going to cover or forgive. So the employer still has to cover that tax, but the actual payroll itself, including benefits that are paid to that employee, can be a part of that payroll protection loan and the forgivable piece of it as well.
Okay. And how does the PPP loan apply to businesses that are a partnership where it's just the employees that are the owners? The owners are the only employees.
And that would depend on how they pay themselves. If they pay themselves as, a W-2 employee of the business, because you have to be able to document in the application process for PPP what your payroll was. So you have to produce payroll documents. So some businesses just pay themselves a draw. And so that they may look at that as well, but you just have to be able to produce those payroll documents. So not knowing what documentation they have and how they pay themselves, it's kind of hard to say. But if you can produce the payroll documents to the bank, then they should be able to work with that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead. That's the last of our questions that we've got on there so far. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to someone who's in the banking industry, if that's okay. Carl, thank you so much for your time and being with us here today. We really do appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you all.
All righty. So, Brian, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you. Do you want to summarize anything that wasn't mentioned yet that you think is important, or to discuss anything else?
Well, I want to let you know, hi, I'm Brian Cosgrave from First Southern Bank. We are SBA loan, approved lender, and we have already received approvals from the SBA in regards to for some of our customers. We were looking at starting funding next week, actually. There wasn't a lot of guidance on this thing on the front end. They kind of just pushed it out real fast. So it's been a challenge for all the banks trying to figure out how to get this done. And there's been a rush of customers and non-customers coming from everywhere right now. So as a community bank, we've been pretty responsive. I think we've got 70 submitted. So, and the approvals are coming gradually. So, like I said, we were excited to get a couple of approvals last Saturday on April 4th. They opened up the program on April 3rd, and we're looking at funding those first part of next week, I believe. So, it is happening. It's just a arduous process. So, it's be very patient with your lenders right now, because they're trying to navigate through very difficult waters. And there's a lot of people coming at them, and they're doing a lot of legwork trying to figure out how to actually make this happen for everyone.
Oops, just kidding. I have to unmute myself. So if anybody has any questions for Brian, you're welcome to type those in the bottom, and maybe we'll catch those at the very end here. But I do want to make sure that we continue to move forward so we can try and have everybody out of here at 1 o'clock like we normally do. If anybody needs anything, just type it in the chat there, and we'll pass it on to him at the end here. So it is
Liz, I just wanted to make a comment to piggyback off Brian, and thank you, Brian, for sharing that information. It's good to hear that the loans are starting to get funded at the SBA side. A lot of these programs are brand new in response to COVID, and they pass these bills that have thousands of pages, and then they just kind of threw it out to us as small business support organizations and to the banking industry. And it's been pretty fluid because the program exists, but the process does not. So we're scrambling trying to get the process in place and get procedures in place to help actually deliver the relief that the legislation is calling for. So with that being said, definitely visit our coronavirus resource page often, because there's been revisions and clarifications that have come out over time. And it's still pretty fluid out there with all these relief programs being, as Brian said, just kind of thrown out at us.
awesome. Thank you very much. So if anyone has any member announcements, we'll go ahead and move into that like we do at our normal event. So basically what we'll do is just go into the chat and type in, I'd like to make an announcement, and then I'll unmute one person at a time. We have to keep it to our normal 30 seconds, and I'm setting my timer over here. And if you go over a minute, I'm muting you. So you'll be in big trouble. We'll have to keep it straight, because I know we probably have a lot of people who want to share some things. But if you want to give a business update, tell people what you're doing that's working right now, go through and hit the chat over there. Tell me that you need to make an announcement, and I'll get you going. All right, let me go ahead and get my timer out, guys, and we'll get started. All right, the first person we have is Daniel Rogers.
That's me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So my name is Daniel Rogers, and I work with CopyLife Inc., as you can see from my lovely background. Very proud of that. And we sell copiers and service copiers here in Highlands County. And one of the things that we're doing is offering promotions on basically waiving your first few lease payments for new customers. And so if you're out there and you find yourself working from home and you don't know, you don't need an HP printer, you need something a little bit more commercial, then please contact me, 256-453-6917. And we're waiving some of our first few lease payments right now for our new customers to help out.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing that. Just make sure when you're done with your announcement, if you can put yourself back on mute on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. So the next person that we have is, we have Jerry Canale. Let me see if I'm having a problem unmuting her. Let me see if I can get it to work here. Let's see. Oh boy.
Hi there.
Ah, are you there? There you are.
Hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Jerry Canale with Boom Booms Guns and Ammo. We are an essential business here in Highlands County, still open. Just for your information, we have all ammo available for all of you. We have a large selection of all types of firearms and non-lethal weapons, tasers, lasers, stun guns, and of course chemicals like sprays. We're here usually Tuesday through Saturday, and I guess half a day on Saturday. But you have some money coming in, this might be the opportunity to move forward and purchase that weapon that you always needed.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Just make sure you go ahead and go back to your to mute over there. Tina, for some reason, Tina Thompson, you're next. I don't have the option to unmute you like everybody else, but if you're here, would you like to go ahead and speak? Tina, are you here? All right, we'll go ahead and move to the next person. We've got Christina Honeycutt. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you here. Christina?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I see Tina on there, but I don't know why we couldn't hear her, but I'll make my announcement. I have Making Sense Solutions. I am a bookkeeper. I'm helping a lot of people with their PPP loans. If you need help filling it out or calculating the numbers required by your banks, and also I can make recommendations of what banks that I've worked with so far and how they're doing their processes, because every bank is different with the information they ask for, and also with the other type of loans. If you need your figures calculated for any of the numbers that the banks are asking for, I can help with that. And so I'll put my phone number and email in the chat there, so if anybody wants to reach out to me, and I can help them with any questions they have. Thank you.
Okay. The next one that we have is Vanessa Logston. I don't see your name here listed, but chances are you might have called in on a cell number. So if Vanessa, if you can unmute yourself, if you have the ability to do that, you can go ahead and speak.
Yeah, I'm here.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm with Highlands Lakeside Theater, and by now you have heard that we have moved Marvelous Wonderettes to June, and we've been contacting all of our patrons. However, we don't have any way to contact the people who won door prizes. So if you want a door prize at the last chamber meeting, please call our box office line, 863-382-2525, and leave us your name. That's it.
Okay, very good. So the next one that we have is Chantel Gilmore. Let me unmute you.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to share. I do have a LuLaRoe boutique here local to Sebring. I am open 259 US 27 North. I'm in the same plaza as the Chamber of Commerce. Now is the time for comfortable clothing. I'm having great sales. Dresses that are regularly $60 are now $38. Leggings are $19, they're usually $25. Please come by. I am also shipping, dropping off local pickups as well. So just let me know what you're looking for. Address 259 US 27 North. My telephone number is 863-381-7716. comfortable, stylish clothing, affordable, affordable, affordable. Thank you.
Awesome. Appreciate that very much. So we've got Linda, who is next. Let's see, Linda's number. I've got to pull up her phone number here really quick. Oh, Linda, do you have the ability to unmute yourself? I don't see you listed. Are you there, Linda? We might have to come back to you in just a minute. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute, I found you. I unmuted you, Linda.
Okay, everyone can hear me then, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to let everyone know that Heartland Talk with the Town Toastmasters is still trying to conduct their meetings. However, we're doing them virtually right now. We've done 2 of them so far with Heartland and a couple of my other clubs as well, so I am really puzzled why I couldn't get in today. Our next meeting is going to be a virtual open house on the 21st of April. If anyone is interested, if they'll send me or text me or call me at 214-4288, I will make sure that I get you the link to do that so that you can attend a Toastmaster meeting without leaving your home, driving anywhere. But you can see how it runs and keep your interest. I hope to hear from you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right, so our next person is Anastasia Saunders. Go ahead, Anastasia.
Hey everybody, thank you Liz and Amy for getting this all together. I think it worked out really well. But I am here for the Just Like Home Hotel, and we are still open. We have grooming available, and we have pet daycare available. And to keep a safe and social distancing both for clients and our staff, we are doing curbside drop-off and pickup. So if you want to give us a call in case your puppy is out of the house or you need a quiet house for another Zoom call or something like that, go ahead and make a reservation and we'll walk you through all the steps and what we need to do. And like I said, grooming's available. So if you drop off for grooming, it's going to be another $8 additional for the so keep it up, it's an option, and our phone number is 863-784-4066. Thanks, guys.
I don't know if everybody else had a little bit of a problem hearing you in certain parts of it, but I do want to let everybody know that on the COVID website for the Sebring Chamber, we have a flyer for Just Like Home Pet Hotel, which I believe kind of summarizes some of the things that Anastasia was just talking about if you didn't hear her. So just wanted to let you guys know that. All right, the next person is Jerome. Let me unmute you, Jerome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to let everybody know that the clerk's office is still open. We are handling emergency injunctions, risk protection orders, domestic violence, Baker Acts, and cases like that. We're still taking marriage licenses, so we've discontinued out-of-county marriage licenses. From March 1st until last Friday, we had more out-of-county marriage licenses than we did in-county because the clerk's offices in surrounding areas had closed their offices. So we're still open. We're still taking marriage licenses, and believe it or not, our marriage licenses are up in Highlands County. So people are getting married because I guess they don't have anything else to do. Official records, we're still taking official records. So we have a couple functions open in the government center and just the emergency function in the probate office in the courthouse. So if you want, and we also are taking payments over the phone, 402-6830 or online at www.hcclerk.org. Thank you.
Very, very good. So the next one we have is Jessie over at Sunshine Staffing.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see everybody virtually. I just wanted to announce that we are still open, not to the public for walk-ins, but we still are operating as a business. So we still are taking orders for employment. If anybody's looking for laborers, clerical, we actually do have some manufacturing plants here locally that are still operational and are needing help. So if you know of anybody that has been recently laid off or is unemployed and looking for a job, we are hiring. We also are hiring for our sister company, Rita Staffing. They are staffing hundreds and hundreds of positions for the Walmart e-commerce in Davenport. Those positions start paying $15 an hour and they have lots of work. They've been sanitizing the place. So far, we haven't had any cases, and we have hundreds of employees placed there. So anybody that's willing to do the drive, we're hiring. You just got to go on our website. We're doing everything virtually. We send electronic documents. We do everything through email. So we're still up and running, and if you need any help, we're here.
All right, so very good. We've got Reverend Ron DeGennaro is next.
Just wanted to let everyone know Easter is not canceled. And our church, as well as several other churches, are doing online services, and Liz has graciously posted those. But I've had 2 churches that are not doing online services. They've called and asked for advice and some help. And so if your house of worship needs some assistance, have them call me. I will walk them through some of the process of doing it. It's actually somewhat reasonable. So we're able to do that. And then also, if you know where to get elastic, please let me know, because I have people who are making masks for people in our congregation, for the hospitals, and also some for the jails. And so people of faith are helping out in other ways during this time. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. All right, we're going to go back to Tina. She's our last one here. It looks like she was able to fix her audio issues. So Tina?
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the Sebring Chamber. We are new chamber members, Lakeshore Manor, which is a new independent and assisted living community that is being built on 27. It's the multi-story building right before Sparta Road, so I'm sure everyone has seen it. We are due to open mid to late summer, so we are very, very excited. If you have Facebook, follow us on Facebook. It's Lakeshore Manor Sebring at Lake Jackson. We will be doing a virtual tour, which was supposed to be our initial hard hat tour, but we're going to be doing that April 28th at 12 o'clock noon. So like us on Facebook, share it, invite your friends, and watch our virtual tour. And hopefully we can have another tour later on once all of this COVID-19 is over with.
We would be happy to help promote that for you. I just wanted to mention as well, I got a message from Carl from the SBDC that he had something he wanted to mention real quick that he forgot to mention. So let me bump over to him real quick, and then we'll wrap things up.
Thank you, Liz. I saw a question in the chat. Somebody had a question about if they only had 1099 employees regarding the emergency bridge loan. For those businesses who participated in the bridge loan program during previous hurricanes, 1099 employees did not count to meet the 2-employee minimum threshold. That is a change that has occurred during this particular rollout of the bridge loan. So if you do have 1099 workers for the COVID emergency bridge loan through the DEO, they will count towards the minimum employee requirement. So those companies who have 1099 employees, if you have 2 or more, but less than 100, then you would meet the employment threshold for eligibility for the state emergency bridge loan.
Very cool. Thank you guys so much for everything and for sharing what's going on. I selfishly have to put on my soda shop hat real quick and let you guys know that, you know, when the going gets tough, the tough get ice cream. So make sure you order yourself some Sebring soda and ice cream works through DoorDash. You don't even have to get off the couch. All right, so I'm gonna pass it over to Jamie. Let me unmute you. We have a couple of door prizes. So what we did is we went ahead and Jamie already put everybody's name in a hat, and we've got a couple things she's going to draw for.
Hello, everybody. So our first door prize is going to be a 3-month web ad on sebring.org. Probably, I don't know if you could hear me, a 3-month web ad on sebring.org from the Sebring Chamber, and that is going to be good through December of 2020. So you do not have to use it right now. And our winner is Helmet from Spring Lake Golf Resort.
Awesome.
Okay, and our second door prize is a surprise sweet treat from Madi at Right Card, Right Time. And the winner is Arthur from Career Source.
Awesome. So we will go ahead and mail those items out. Madi will send hers direct, so we'll get some contact info and send them to you guys. I just wanted to say thank you so much to our presenter today. Thank you, Carl. We appreciate you. Thank you to Reverend Ron DeGennaro for doing our invocation in this very interesting time. And of course, wanted to thank Sheriff Blackman if he's still with us. We appreciate you guys for taking some time to do your updates. And thank you for making your announcements so we know what's going on in the community to everybody else. A reminder, you're going to get a Mixer email, so just check out your email probably today, the latest Monday. It'll tell you how to sign up for that so we can continue to stay connected. And a reminder, if you have any of the COVID-19 updates that you want to share on our website for the Chamber, just shoot us an email at admin@sebring.org or CEO@sebring.org, and we'll make sure we make that happen for you. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'm happy we were able to do this and to continue to keep pushing through. So have a great day, okay? Bye, guys.